Yeah, hi there. These comments, I'm going to just use your initials, WAS, and I am Michael, the founder, owner, and the materials writer for all of your lessons at the 7-step system to pass the TOEFL IBT. So you want to actually, I'm going to look at the email that you sent me and correct some of your grammar here. So you want to say international student studying English in Atlanta. Then put, I need to get at least 80 on the TOEFL. You say, I would probably use here, I took the test last week, and to avoid the run-on, you can put and, that way you have good sentence structure. And I got 20 in speaking, 22 in listening, 15 in reading, and 11 in writing. See, my scholarship program, remember when you're talking about past tense actions, here, my scholarship program scheduled another test for me. Here, if you say in July, you can't use a specific day. Once you use the day, like on July 25th, use cause effect. So, I need to improve these skills very fast. What is your advice for me? Okay, so here's what you're asking me really. Your TOEFL score right now is 68, but you need to get 80. So you're looking for approximately 12 points of improvement, and you're trying to do this in about 12 days. This is tough. I think it's going to be hard for you to do this. I mean, I can give you my best guess here. I mean, I would recommend right now that you probably need to follow a 30 to a 60 to 90 day TOEFL study plan. It's probably going to take 2 or 3 months to reach your goal. But if you're in a big hurry, here's my recommendation. Number one, I'm going to put in the email here my 30-day TOEFL study guide. That's going to be very useful for you. So once you join my course, you can start going through the lessons. And then secondly, I think once you become one of my students, complete an independent writing practice test. And you should also complete an integrated writing practice test to see where you are right now. So my recommendation here is when you join my course, you make a payment of $38, which gives you unlimited access to all of the lessons in my online TOEFL course, a 7-step system to pass the TOEFL IBT. Now, as you're doing the independent writing practice test, you basically have 2 choices here. You can complete the test and get a score from a teaching assistant, which is no extra cost to you. It's all part of the $38 monthly payment that you pay. Or you can have me error correct the essay. So I'll put error correction service for your writing practice test. Now I do have it. Now if you take advantage of my error correction service, you do have to make an additional payment because it takes me over an hour to read and correct all the grammar errors, the vocabulary problems, the organizational problems, the developmental issues. So basically what I will do, if I error correct your essay, I will rewrite the essay to show you what you have to do to go from, for example here, 11 points in the writing to getting 30 points out of 30. I will show you all the problems you're having. I will even recommend specific lessons that you should study in order to improve your skills. Now if you do that, you have to make an additional $50 payment. It's not free. My website is definitely not free, and you're paying for a very, very important service in which I diagnose the problems that you're having in your writing. For example, up here, you can already see through some of the corrections that I've made that you're having problems with sentence structure. You're having problems combining your sentences together. What do? That means you have to study what's called compound sentences. You should be studying how to use adjective, adverb, and noun clauses. You should also be studying punctuation. If you can get more of a grasp and understand those principles and use those correctly in your writing, you can improve your writing. But that's just what I'm saying here. You may have more problems than just language use issues with your writing. But that's the purpose of the error correction service. Now, I would recommend, because the error correction service is expensive, you don't want to do it with every practice test that you take, because I have over 40 independent writing practice tests right now at my website. I have 43 integrated writing practice tests at my site. So, if you have me error correct an independent writing practice test and an integrated writing practice test, making the $50 payments here, that will give you a better idea of exactly what your writing problems are and then how you can solve them. Right? So I think if I did that, or if you take advantage of that additional service option for my online TOEFL course, I think I can help you here and help move this up. I don't know if I can get it up to 20 in like 12 days, but hopefully you can get at least 4 or 5 points higher here in the writing. You see what I'm saying? Now, in order to help you here, let's take a look at why you're getting the score you're getting. So you're scoring 11 points on the writing section. This is not good. What does that mean? So I'm going to explain it to you. These are the rubrics that I use when I grade independent and integrated writing practice tests on my website, or better yet, my teaching assistant does most of the grading, and then I do the error correction type grading that my students request if they make the additional payment. But you got big trouble here. Look at this. So you're having trouble what's called responding to the topic and the task, which means you get a specific question you're being asked during the independent writing task, and you're not answering the question correctly. You have inadequate organization or connection of ideas. It means you need to work on structuring your ideas with a thesis statement and also with appropriate, relevant topic sentences and supporting details in the body paragraphs. You have problems with inappropriate or insufficient explanations, examples, or details to support your generalizations as they relate to the writing task. So you're not giving specific details to support the argument you're trying to make. And then you have serious and frequent errors in sentence structure and usage. All of these issues you have to overcome. The question is, can you overcome these problems in 12 days? And the answer is probably not. It looks like you have your work ahead of you. You probably have 2 or 3 months of very serious writing study and practice before you're going to move your writing score from, say, 11 points to 20. Now the next thing, let's take a look at the integrated writing. See if we can figure out why you're getting the score you are there. So again, you're scoring about 11 points here. During the integrated writing task, here's a description of your writing right now. Your response contains little meaningful or relevant content from the lecture. Furthermore, you have not presented this information in an organized manner. Your language errors are so severe that it's difficult to derive meaning. So it means that when you're writing, doing the integrated writing task, you're supposed to talk about the main and the most important supporting points from the reading passage. And then you show how the main and the most important supporting points in the listening passage, pretty much you're showing how this information disagrees with the information in the reading passage. According to your score, you're not doing that. So, and that's pretty much why you're getting the score you are. Now, that's probably the best recommendation I can give you right now, which is going to help you with your writing and also with your overall score, is to start going through the lessons in my 30-day TOEFL study guide. And then once you become one of my students, it's a good idea for you to complete an independent and integrated writing practice test and pay for the additional service of having me error correct each of these writing practice tests. That means you have to make an additional $100 payment, and then I'll read and error correct those 2 essays to show you exactly what it is that's holding you back. Alright? So I think we're on the right track here. Now let's go to reading now. So I've given you some good tips to help you with your writing. And with the reading area, your reading score again is not very high. You have to do much better in this area, but it takes time to improve reading, so there's not a lot that you can do in about 12 days that will have really any meaningful effect on your overall TOEFL score or the reading section of the TOEFL exam. So my recommendation is, if you decide to use my course for say 2 or 3 months, here's what you want to do. You want to start reading every day for about 45 minutes. That's the bottom line. You got to do that. A lot of people want tips and tricks to pass a TOEFL IBT. They want to understand exactly how to get a perfect score in the reading section. But if you're not used to reading on a regular basis, the tips and the tricks that I'm going to give you are not going to make any difference at all because you can't understand what you read anyway. So if anybody gives you strategies or tips and tricks to score higher in the reading section, that presupposes that you already have pretty good reading proficiency, which you don't. The second thing you want to do is to increase or spend time studying vocabulary. You should begin studying vocabulary a lot more than you're doing. At my website, I have vocabulary lesson number 3, vocabulary lesson number 4, vocabulary lesson number 5, and vocabulary lesson number 6 are all important and they will help you improve. But those 4 lessons contain over 1,700 college level words, and there's no sense in trying to learn those all in 12 days. It's just going to give you a big headache, and you're not going to reach your goal there. But if you spend 2 or 3 months, you definitely can improve your vocabulary. The next thing you can do is work on increasing your reading speed to at least 300 plus words per minute. My website will definitely help you do that. Again, this is probably not something you're going to do in just 2 or 3 days or even a week or 2. It'll take you probably a few months. But my website does have 70 speed reading practice tests, and you can begin improving your reading speed almost immediately. My speed reading tests start at 100 words a minute, and they go all the way to 350 words per minute. Now, number 4, you should work at understanding the reading question types and the strategies for answering these questions. That means this is where you get into the tactics and the strategies and all those things, right? And then you should spend time completing TOEFL level practice test. With two purposes, really. The first purpose of completing a TOEFL level reading practice test is to get a mark, to get a score, to see where you are. Secondly, you can see how you're doing with certain types of questions. For example, are you okay answering main idea questions? Can you answer detail questions correctly? How do you do when you have vocabulary questions? What about inference questions or rhetorical questions? How are you when you complete schematic tables or charts in the TOEFL reading part of the test? Which of these question types are you having more problems with? Then you can go back to point number 4 here. Now, my recommendation right now, if you want my opinion here, is if you spend 2 hours a day doing reading practice, or 1 hour a day even doing reading practice, 60% of your time right now, actually 80%, should be spent doing steps 1 through 3. And then 20% of your time you should be doing steps 4 through 5. So let's say if you're, you get the point there. So you budget your time accordingly there. Now, a lot of students, they spend all their time understanding the reading question types and strategies. They spend all their time doing the TOEFL level reading practice test, but because they haven't practiced with extensive reading, they haven't really built the vocabulary very well, and they haven't increased their reading speed significantly, they're just wasting their time doing this. So you want to do this really, this is the most important thing, and then right before you take the TOEFL, this is where you do steps 4 and 5 here. So these are my recommendations for you right now. So what I'm doing is I'm giving you recommendations on how you can improve specifically here the reading and the writing parts, I think, of your academic English language abilities, and at the same time give you practice with vocabulary, pronunciation, grammar, listening, and also speaking, right? So you can also work on those skills on my website and also build these particular areas of your English as I just indicated in this particular video, right? So let's recap what we have here. My recommendations. Start completing the lessons in my 30-day TOEFL study guide. Right after you join my course, maybe you should complete an independent writing practice test, pay for the additional service, wait to get my results back. I'll do a video correcting your entire essay. Once you've done that, then you can do the third step here is to complete an integrated writing practice test. Again, make an additional payment of $50. I will error correct your entire essay, pointing out all of the problems, right? So then you now have a plan. You can see what your difficulties are in the writing, and you can also see where in my online TOEFL course you can study in order to get better. And then in the next part of the video, I talked about how you can improve your reading by following step 1, reading for 45 minutes every day. That means maybe reading newspapers, magazines, and books. Number 2, studying vocabulary, and particularly study vocabulary lessons number 3, 4, 5, and 6 in my online TOEFL course to make progress. Of course, increase your reading speed to 300 words a minute or more is going to be very helpful, and then 20% of your time you can work on understanding the reading question types and the strategies for answering them, and you can complete TOEFL level reading practice test. Right. In the reading section of my course, you have an opportunity to understand all the different question types and the strategies for answering them. Now, for the TOEFL level reading practice test, you will not get that at my website. I do have another company that has TOEFL level reading practice tests. They also have, you can take a full-length IBT practice test if you like, and then you can certainly do that also if you want. All right, anyway, thank you very much, and all the best to your high-scoring writing and reading success.